Hello and welcome to this new episode of my Game Boy collection. We're still here with the Game Boy and Game Boy Color collection, and actually this is one of my Game Boy Color games, one of 6 in total. So let's see what this game has to offer. This game has a special place in my collection. Back in 1998, when I was 12 years old, the Game Boy Color was released. Upon its release, there were, as it was to be expected, numerous reviews published in magazines, both on the console as for the new games as well. There were also TV ads that showcased the console's new capabilities. The review/advertisement of a game that I remember the most has to be about the Smurfs Nightmare. As I said in a previous video, I've been a Smurfs fan since the age of 3 or so. Huge fan that is, and I still am. Some things don't change, I guess. The Smurfs is my favorite Belgian comic and cartoon, and indeed the Belgian comics department is of really high quality. So when I saw the first images of a Game Boy game of Smurfs with bright colors and great graphics, compared to the other Game Boy games anyway, I was blown away. If Tiny Toon Adventures Bob's Big Break is the reason I even bought the Game Boy in the first place, and it totally is by the way, the Smurfs Nightmare is the reason I bought a Game Boy Color. However, just like with the Tiny Toon, I was a few years too late. Since I got the Game Boy Color somewhere in the year 2000, this game was already out of circulation, or if not that, because it wasn't all that old by the time, I just couldn't find it anywhere. In a way, it was just like the Tiny Toons. It was a game I desperately wanted to have, but I couldn't. At least for the time being. And nevertheless, I got this game online in my 20s, and so at the very least, the shadows of the past started to pass, I guess. And I think part of being an adult is mending old wounds like that, which, to be fair, in retrospective, are not that important. Well, not really anyway, so that's that. But enough about that, let's talk about the game. Often referred to as Smurfs 3, this game was originally released for the Game Boy in 1997, but when the Game Boy Color hit shelves, this game got a remake, and I think it was a good call. Developed by Infogrames, a company that thrived on games about European comics, with really wonderful graphics and music, this game can very well be the best out of the 3 Smurf games. And the fun thing about this game is that it has a quest vibe to it. You get some items as you progress that will unlock new stages later, which is kind of cool. The game is full of colorful mechanics as well, as you can fly on bubbles and wings and a whole other stuff like that. An important aspect of the game is that you need to gather leaves, which will allow you to jump higher and higher, which is essential as each level progresses. Though it was a nice idea, it can be a bit of a drag sometimes, as in some cases you cannot progress if you don't have enough leaves. The level design is really good though, and the game has excellent graphics, among the best ones you can find in a Game Boy Color in my opinion. It might not be as perfect as I expected it to be when I was 12 and wanted the game so badly, but still it is worth the effort and a really entertaining game. It is definitely worth checking out, and especially because, at least in my opinion, the Game Boy Color game library does not have that much of a great selection of games. Not only that, but as I said earlier, this was originally released for the Game Boy, and so it could be considered part of the Game Boy library, technically that is. And indeed, I think the list of the greatest game for the Game Boy Color, a lot of them, would be actually remakes and not original content. But anyway, let's see how our list goes now. Once again, there are some changes to be had here. As you can see, the chronological list has been updated, yeah, that's obvious, and the rank list has changed, with Smurfs Nightmare, or Smurfs 3 if you will, ranking high. Maybe not as high as my 12-year-old self would imagine, but still high enough. So yeah, this is it for now. If you like my video, make sure you subscribe and consider supporting me on Patreon. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this series and my channel in general. Cheers!